welcome to Healthy Conversations. Today is exciting, as usual. I've got all the feels. I've got some great company with me today, and we're just going to go on an adventure of flow, talking about all things wonderful, Healthii Hub and collaborations and relish, relish.
Relish Creative is
Creative. I was going to say collective. Sorry, that's my bad. So
all
we're
right.
very, very, very excited to have a chat with Narelle today as well. So um, get ready, get your coffee set. Let's get stuck into some yumminess of all things health and well-being. It's going to be exciting. So thank you, Narelle, for being here as well. I'm so excited. I was just saying before, I'm a little bit nervous as well, as I am usually with podcasts.
No,
um,
thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, look, it's amazing. And definitely today, I think that we get to talk about the yummy stuff. So I really wanted to go through a little bit of the story of Healthii Hub. And then I want to transition into obviously why we're connecting, which is really beautiful. So
Absolutely.
the start, I guess. So
Yeah.
Healthii Hub was uh, basically 2.5 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. It was in April of what are we, 24, 22, 22. Yeah, it was just sort of around the post COVID, and I realized that there wasn't a lot of support available to people that were going through mental challenges, mental well-being challenges. So the system, the conventional system, was finding that there was actual waits of 3, 6, 9, 12-month waits just to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I'd heard too many stories about people that had attempted to take their life, and also people that had done that. So it was really quite upsetting for me, and especially having my own journey with mental health, but also coming from mining industry as well. So it was definitely something that impacted me greatly. So I guess I wanted that, and combined with the fact that I actually get to work with some really beautiful counselors and holistic counselors in a different capacity, I could see that they weren't busy. And for me, this was ridiculous. Like, I'm like, how is it that somebody that is a holistic counselor or a counselor, they can impact people still? Like, for me personally, it changed my life, probably saved my life by speaking to a holistic counselor outside of the system, because the system wasn't working for me. So I was just like, look, we need to put these people out there. Like, how is it that I can share these people? Not only that, it was that these businesses, these solopreneurs are amazing at what they do. They're heart-centered, they're connected in a completely different way. And obviously from that space, they can connect with a client in a different way, but they don't necessarily have the tools or the know-how, or sometimes even the ability to be able to step into that business in a, I'm going to tell everyone who I am. Half of them don't want to do that. Then they don't know how. They don't have the connections to be able to do that. And some of them just feel like, well, we're just happy to be able to serve the community. Well, this is how we believe that we're serving community. And I'm like, well, no, they've got to be seen. They've got special, amazing, beautiful gifts to offer. And this is what we need to do. They need to be connected to people in order to support their journey with mental health, physical health. It could be a number of different things. So once you delve into that space of holistic approaches to things, as you would know, Narelle, as well, like, you get to be able to support people on their journey of physical, mental, spiritual, everything, from a holistic approach as well. So I guess with that, also I went through a bit of a stage there where, for those that know me, I'm a Jill of all trades. uh, and master of some. Yeah, but there was a particular day I was sitting, like, going through this sort of phase of what is happening with the world, what's happening with me, what's happening with my family and friends. Um, what am I doing? You know, what's my craft? Like, what's my mission in life? And what do I want to step forward and to do? And on a tiled floor in my lounge room at the time, I'm like, right, I need to nut out. What is it that I can do, have done, and want to potentially do? And really make that heart-centered step into, right, if I've got this personal training piece of paper in my hand, how do I feel about doing that now moving forward? And so writing out this list of, I think I had about 20 different things. I was able to individually go through those lists, and I was able to go, well, you know what? Personal training isn't for me anymore. I absolutely love the connections and love supporting clients, but to me, that's not where my heart is leading to right now. And then I went through a few other. I've been supported by cleaning, jewelry design, and fabrication. I'd come from an administrative background of full-time work, so I knew that some of these things weren't necessarily for me. But what really stood out for me was actually the concept of running a retreat to work with women to be able to support womb health, trauma post childbirth, to really be able to support not just the women, the men, but not only both of those, but then also any practitioners that would work with them. So specifically sort of the medical side, because again, I think that there's, from knowing midwives as well, there's that disconnect sometimes. They get so caught up in it that it then becomes monotonous, I guess. So they need care, they need support, bring them into that space as well. So I reached out for wanting to have a chat to a few different practitioners, 3 types of practitioners around trauma, womb, retreats, and I think something else. And within that afternoon, I had over 75 to 100 responses on a social media platform. And I was like gobsmacked. I just sat there in awe going, oh my God, there are so many amazing practitioners. This is just on the Sunshine Coast.
Exactly.
Yes. And I'm like, if I was a vulnerable woman going through experiences that may or may not have meant that my mental health, how am I going to reach out?
Yeah.
How am I going to reach out for the support if I'm not really connected to a community, if I've withdrawn from a community? How am I going to ask for help?
Yeah.
And so that was really impactful for me, because I realized in that moment that I wouldn't. I may do with the social circles that I have got, but even still, we, in those sorts of moments, that's when we need the community. It's when we need the support. And if I can't look for something locally by myself,
Yeah.
then how do I find that? And I had a bit of a search around, and I was looking up phone book, directory, all these different terms, and it took me a year and a half to find one. So to me, that was just not good enough. So combined with the mental health, and then people wanting and needing the support and the assistance, and how do they reach out when they're most vulnerable, this is where the journey of Healthii Hub started. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really, really impactful.
That necessity too is can be really overwhelming when you're coming from that space of like, I need urgent care now, and where do I go for that urgent care? And friends will suggest things, and people who care about you will suggest things, but they don't always hit you in the way that you feel it's for you.
Yes.
And so, not having the resources at your own fingertips can be really overwhelming, because then where do you turn if you can't find something straight away? That's
Yes.
where that it leaves space for the damage, you know,
That's
that
the disconnect.
yeah, that's the disconnect, exactly. And so, yeah, it's super important to be able to showcase or have a space where you can showcase all of these incredible practitioners, therapists, people who have all of these skills, and also the kind of bedside manner and the kind of holistic approach that we all want as well. You know, you don't feel like you're getting squeezed into a system or that you're falling through the cracks somewhere either. You know, like when you're going to someone who genuinely is purposefully in that career because they have full heart care and their heart led in that space, it hits different. You know that yourself, right? It hits different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so important.
yeah.
And I did go down the path of like, okay, well, right, I had I'm like, right, it's going to be called Alternative Therapies Directory. I had the name, I had it, you know, all the things. But then I realized that when we're dealing with these sorts of things as well, there is the Western medicine is that conduit into Eastern,
Mm,
because then that's where that complementary comes in. Like
yeah,
we there'll be that point where we do need that side of the system,
yeah.
but we also need to understand that there's also this other side as well that can actually beautifully complement
Mm,
um, the Western. And so it's creating, and that's why I couldn't call it then Alternative Therapies Director. I had to go through another whirlwind of trying
yeah.
to work out, okay, well, what am I going to call it? How's it going to work? But yeah, to me, this was a really beautiful journey for me as well to go through, and being able to connect people
Mm,
with an associated business that really connects with them, especially what, like you're saying, heart led. I guess building this out, my intention is that I can actually, the system itself miraculously just connects people to people.
yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's all of a sudden you'll go, I don't know how I found you or what come up, but I just found you and I just liked your profile. Because that
Yeah.
is sometimes the magic that is this beautiful connection that creates beautiful healing,
Mm,
and that beautiful journey of, you know, recovery or support or medicine or whatever that journey is for the individual. It just happens. It just
yeah,
flows.
that's right. And I think too, sometimes when you're in that space where you don't actually understand exactly what you need, to be able to have that array of choice in front of you obviously helps to make that choice, because sometimes it takes looking at what you don't want to
Yes.
understand what you do want, right? And you might not know why you want that thing, but you know, when you're faced with making a decision to try something new, something will stand out to you. It has, you know, something appeals to you for some reason. You can't put your finger on it, whatever it is. But when we're moving ourselves out of that conditioned way of healthcare, which is
Yes.
actually sick care in our country, you know, moving into a space of looking at things holistically, we don't really know why we're certainly attracted to one thing, but you know that, you know, having it all there and understanding that it is something that is, you know, it's qualifiable, people use it, it works.
Yes.
It then gives you that, okay, well, it gives you the confidence because it has credibility behind it. And so you see it there and you think, okay, I'm going to give it a go, right?
Yeah.
And you never know where that road's going to take you. So even just to have that in front of you, it's like trying a new food or something for the first time. You know, you just never know how it's going to go. But I know for myself, many, many years ago, you know, trying new therapies and things like that, I was like, oh, I don't really understand it. That there's all these words that I don't necessarily understand how it's going to, you know, work for me or what it actually does. But for some reason, I'm still attracted to go and try it out.
Absolutely. And then not only that, at the end of it, that just that willingness to try, you're
Yeah,
like, oh my God, that
exactly.
was next level.
Well, what have you got to lose when you've tried all the other things that are sort of mainstream? What have you got to lose to try something different that's appealing to you? Like, okay, well, obviously there's a reason why I'm being drawn to that. And so, yeah,
Absolutely. That actually reminds me of my first holistic counseling and energy healing session.
yeah,
I met this beautiful lady, Marie Crawford. She's on the platform, and I was broken. I was so broken. And she's just like, hey, just come to my place. We can go through a session and we'll just, see what happens.
yeah,
Yeah, in the beautiful Marie way. And I remember being so scared shitless. I'm like, but are they going to be able to, is she going to be able to see like right into my soul? Like, what is this that I'm going to be able to do? And it was also, but I just went trusting. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, right, well, I can only give it a go and I can only see what happens. It'll, it may be shit. It may be really bad, but it also like, what happens if it's not?
yeah, that's
And, that one session was a 3-hour session.
mm,
And oh my lordy, it literally changed my world. If
yeah,
it wasn't for the trust that I had in, I guess, myself to go, well, okay, I'm obviously going, I'll give it a go, and like you say, what else have I got to lose? Everything else was not working. I
yeah,
was actually at that time I had been seeing psychologists, and I remember going through the Medicare benefit schedule to get your 10 sessions.
yeah,
That may or may not have changed now, but I went through one practice, one the whole practice,
mm,
and I ended up seeing the first practitioner. I had to do obviously the introductory session, and to learn a little bit more about what it like. We get to know each other, right?
yeah.
Anyway, I went back for my second session 2 weeks later, a week later, and then my practitioner was gone. I had to do it all again, and
Oh,
I'm like, what?
unreliable.
Like, I don't have the money to spend on it. I'm really not doing well. I've asked for help. I'm reaching out for the help. And here I am getting stuffed around by the system.
Yeah,
Like
and that
nobody
just
even called me to tell me.
no,
It
and
was sad.
you just lose your confidence in that then, don't you? Because you've been,
Yes.
yeah, it's not working.
I went through 3 practitioners in that one space, and
Mm,
not one of them helped me. And it was
yeah,
all the same. So
yeah,
to me, they weren't seeing me, they weren't hearing me, and
mm,
they weren't really interested in that sort of sense because obviously their training was something different. And, who knows? Like that was just my personal experience with those particular practitioners, and everyone has different experiences. But I guess that's what led me to something else because that system was failing me.
mm,
And
exactly.
what else? Who else is around? Who else is available? I need help. I'm asking for it.
Yeah,
But where do you go if there's no other options?
yeah,
Well, I didn't believe there are other options, but now knowing that there are other people available that can help in different ways. And for me, it was through holistic counseling and energy healing,
yeah,
meeting Marie, and she's become a lifelong friend now, going on 7 years, 8 years.
mm,
So this is the fundamentals of what Healthii Hub is about. It is about, what else is out there.
yeah,
Surely there's another way. Surely there's something better than what I'm experiencing in this moment. And it
yeah,
gives people that option. And it really hopefully connects people back to themselves as well. For them to go, look, you know what, that doesn't feel so good, but this does.
yeah,
Oh, and this is what you say. Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to give it a go and just see what happens. What's the
yeah,
worst that can happen after all the other experiences that, you know?
yeah,
So, but this puts it back into your hands,
mm,
the individual's hands to be able to make that informed decision for themselves. So, yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah, that's right. And to have the collaborative space as well, where, there are so many options for the kind of therapy that you might be after or for the kind of attention that you might need in the holistic space. It comes from every level and every direction, which,
Mm,
is so different to the traditional pharmaceutical or medical road that we're usually led down. We kind of, when we go into that system, they lead us down the road by just only allowing us a certain number of choices, which they think are the right way for us to go. Whereas when you look at things, or when we take our power back and we look at things with a holistic view and we see what else is out there, we can actually feel our way down the right path and ensure that we're doing is right for ourselves rather than handing our power over to somebody else. And so, you know, what you've created here, Sarah, with Healthii Hub is a plethora of opportunity for people to, not only for the therapists to get themselves out there and to be seen and to be found by the right people, but also, you know, that sort of, I guess, like a smorgasbord for people to understand that there is more than one way to heal themselves and more than one road to go down. And that in itself, I know it can also be a little overwhelming, but that in itself helps people to understand that they have options. There's not just this like one band-aid solution for everybody, that, you know, just because it works for Tom over there doesn't mean it's going to work for Dave over here. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
yes.
you know, you know, taking our power back and having those options and being able to discuss that with certain different therapists who, you know, they don't have any investment in it, like, whereas a doctor, they're, you know, they've got all of these different protocols and different quotas to fill and all that kind of thing. When you're talking to a therapist about your situation, they're going to be straight up with you and say, look, you know, I can help you, or I don't know if I'm the right person, but hey, I could like let you know about this person or this person or this person, because they've got the experience. And so, you know, to offer that in a digital space for someone, it's, you know, it's convenient. It allows you the space and the time to think for yourself and to take that opportunity into your own hands and to make those informed decisions for yourself that you may feel, you know, under the pressure of the medical system, that you don't have that freedom to choose. So, and I think that's super important, as well as that collaborative space, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just also mention as well, like, because part of that customer journey, when you are an individual and you're not quite sure about where or how to do things, and sometimes, like we were saying before, the vulnerability, you
Mm,
know, how is it that you can make some of these decisions? Is it overwhelming to be able to do the search parameters as well sometimes?
yeah, yeah,
So, you know, I want to be able to hear the client, the end user, the
mm,
individual doing the search as well, in supporting their journey. So even by, in the back end, creating a membership for themselves, they also have the ability to say, hey, this is what I'm looking for.
mm,
So rather than having to go fully delve into search mode, they just might want to be able to say, this is some of the circumstances that I'm going through right now. I need help. Who is available to support me through that journey based on their location?
yeah,
And so it then, that's another way that they can go through that search parameters. They can be approached by businesses, and they can make an informed decision then about the business that they choose to step in with as well. So I think that there's two sides, I guess, to that. So it's just making sure that people have the options to be able to search whichever way that suits themselves, given their situation as well.
yeah,
And
yeah,
going like with the collaborations as well, and from a Healthii Hub perspective, competition is old school.
yeah,
Like, to me, that's old news. It doesn't, like, there's not, why compete? It doesn't help anyone. In my version, it's very low vibrational and doesn't do anyone any justice, to be honest.
yeah,
Healthy competition, maybe, as long as, you know, we're lifting each other up. Okay, I'm an Aries. I'm a little bit competitive by nature, but, you know, but I love working with people. And at the end of the day, Healthii Hub is about supporting people with people. I can't do this myself. I don't want to do this by myself. I just can't do solo. Like, I can't. I need to have people's around me to vibe off and create this beautiful, yummy energy. So with building out the Healthii Hub platforms, and in my vulnerability here, I guess, in my share, as a self-funded business that I have had to work extremely hard to well, my personal development journey, for one, has been epic. I've
Yeah.
needed to go through certain experiences in order to get to where I'm at. But I haven't come from money. I haven't come from all this other having backings and all the fun stuff that sometimes some people do have through business.
Yeah.
Everything that's been created out of this has been the money that I've earned has been put solely back into the business, and
Mm,
I haven't had a lot spare. So
yeah.
for me, and one of the biggest things that I hear from businesses, startups, is, well, how do you do this?
Mm,
How is it that you actually get a leg up when everybody wants you to invest money with them? It's
yes.
like, look, I need help. I'm asking for help. And again, it comes back to that, even very similarly to the individual, right? Where's the help?
Mm,
And so in one of my moments at home, I'm like, after a call, I was wanting to do a collaboration with somebody, and I got a no. Um, that's perfect. It's great because it's all learning. And to me, a no is always one step closer to a yes. So it's
yeah.
like, woohoo. But I took some time, had some downtime, and I'm like, what do I need to be doing here? Because ultimately, I need to share this. I need to share this far and wide. But if I don't have a lot of the finances behind me, how do I do this?
Mm, yeah.
And so, yeah, I put a call out onto social media, and I decided, look, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to ask to connect with some really amazing businesses, some set key businesses. And I had a beautiful friend refer me to yourself, which is really beautiful to work with social media. So
Yeah.
it's really, I had another couple of other contacts in a couple of other areas. And so it's really beautiful. And also, oh my God, that we share the same vision with Healthii Hub as well. Like, that was a synchronicity that I was not expecting.
100%.
Yeah, but to be able to put the call out, to be absolutely brutally honest and heartfelt with my message and like our discussions,
Mm,
it was really beautiful that I could be myself. And I'm like, this is where I'm at. This is the situation. Can we work together collaboratively? I want to promote you. You want to promote me. Like, let's just do this in a really beautiful, amazing way.
yeah.
And so it's been really beautiful to connect in with you around that as well. And there's another couple of businesses as well. Um, but you've got my social media covered.